In the world of aviation, there's this phrase that gets thrown around all the time. On the surface, it sounds perfectly logical. But here's the thing, it's actually pretty misleading, and it can cause some real problems. There it is, security versus safety. Just saying that, it immediately frames these two critical things as opponents, right? Like they're in a boxing ring, competing against each other. And, well, that's really where the trouble starts. So, the big question we've got to ask is that framing even right? Is it correct? Spoiler alert, the short answer is a big no. And really digging into why it's wrong is super important for anyone who's involved in keeping our skies safe. Okay, so let's start by digging into the word that's really at the heart of this whole problem, versus. The second you use that word, you're setting up a rivalry, a competition. I mean, think about it. Versus automatically implies a competition, right? It means one side has to win and the other has to lose. It means you're forced to make trade-offs. So when we put those two words together, security versus safety, our brains just automatically assume that to get more security, you probably have to give up a little bit of safety, and vice versa. But, and this is the absolute key takeaway here, that whole idea, it's just flat out wrong when it comes to aviation. Security and safety are not in a battle with each other. They're on the same team. They exist for the exact same reason, to protect people, to protect the aircraft, and to protect the whole system. So, okay, if they're not competitors, then what are they? Well, the best way to think about them is as complementary functions. They have different jobs to do, for sure, but they are absolutely not working towards opposing goals. Here's a simple way to break it down. Think of aviation safety as the part of the system that protects us from accidental harm. Things like human error, a system failing, or just plain bad weather. Now, aviation security, that's focused on preventing intentional harm. We're talking about things like malicious acts, sabotage, terrorism, things people are trying to do to cause damage. So yeah, they're looking at totally different kinds of threats. And because of that, they use different tools to handle them. But, and this is the part we can't forget, they are both working towards the exact same objective, and that is making sure every flight is a safe one. All right, so let's move from theory to what actually happens out there in the real world. In day-to-day aviation operations, safety and security are already woven together so tightly. I mean, they're not just allies. They literally depend on each other to work. Just think about how this plays out. Strong security controls, like, say, a reinforced cockpit door. That's a security measure, right? But it directly protects a safety-critical system. It keeps the pilot safe to fly the plane. And it works the other way, too. A really good safety reporting system where crew members can report anything that seems off. That might be the very first sign of a security vulnerability. See how that works? They feed into each other. It's this constant reinforcing loop where security helps safety and safety gives us insights into security. That's when aviation is at its best. Okay, so now that we see how they're supposed to work together, let's talk about the real damage that happens when we stick to that old versus mindset. And this isn't just about words, you guys. This has real, tangible, negative consequences, both on the ground and in the air. When you frame it as a competition, what happens? You get silos. You get the security team and the safety team seeing each other as rivals instead of partners. It creates these totally false trade-offs, especially when it comes to budgets. Leaders feel like they have to choose sides, and that just destroys the culture. It erodes the cooperation and trust that is absolutely 100% critical in aviation. It even messes with public perception. People start to wonder if a new security rule is somehow making them less safe, which is the exact opposite of the truth. So what do we do about it? How do we fix this? Well, we need a better way to think about it, a better mental model. We need a new frame that actually reflects the reality on the ground, that this is all about a single unified goal. And here's what that looks like. It's simple, really. Safety is all about managing unintentional risk. Security is all about managing intentional risk. That's it. They're not rivals in a race. They're two parallel tracks, both heading to the same destination, and they depend on each other to get there. And that's why this is so important. In an industry like aviation, language really matters. The words we choose literally shape how we think. They shape the systems we build, and most importantly, how we work together. When you say security versus safety, you're setting everyone up for failure from the get-go. The truth is, aviation doesn't get to choose between the two. It needs both, working in perfect sync to succeed. So let's just leave it with this one final thought, a much better mantra to replace the old one. It goes like this: different risks, one objective, no competition. that simple phrase, right there. That's not just changing words. It's a fundamental shift in how we approach the entire concept of keeping people safe when they fly. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other fields could benefit from getting rid of that versus mindset and focusing on the unified goal?